Discover how an incredible encounter in a billionaire's bed sparked life-changing transformation. Maria held her breath as she stepped into the grand ballroom, nearly dizzy with the opulence surrounding her. Glimmering chandeliers hung like jewels from the ceilings, casting a warm light that danced across the faces of the glittering crowd. She felt like a moth drawn dangerously close to a flame, thrilling yet terrifying. Just hours before, she had been scrubbing diner plates while the day's worries sat heavy on her shoulders. Now here she was, a single mother from a small Ohio town, thrust into a world of wealth and privilege. The night pulsed with laughter and clinking glasses, a stark contrast to the quiet struggles of her little home where her 10-year-old daughter, Sophie, slept soundly after yet another long day of begging her mother for the newest toy. Maria's heart tightened. She had worked 2 jobs to scrape together enough for a stable life, and yet here she was, feeling alien in this dazzling world. The whispers of pity from her neighbors echoed in her head. Look at her, chasing the rich man, they'd say. Those thoughts sent a shiver down her spine, but James Weston, the enigmatic billionaire hosting the gala, caught her eye from across the room. He was everything she'd expect a billionaire to be, charismatic and commanding, with a confidence that radiated through the crowd. When he approached her, she felt a rush of warmth flood her cheeks. As they began speaking, Maria's insecurities slipped away. Their conversation felt as easy as a Sunday morning, their shared struggles of dedication illuminated with every word exchanged. The more she revealed about her life, the less she felt like an outsider. In her heart, she realized that behind his success, James had built his empire just like she did through hard work and unwavering commitment. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she spoke, a connection blossomed. Yet darkness lurked in the background. When word of Maria's friendship with James spread, it didn't take long for whispers to swell into a storm. She sensed the shift in the air. The support of her community now turned to skeptical judgment. Who does she think she is? They would murmur, eyes filled with resentment. The sting of their betrayal wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. The moment came suddenly. James's proposal to fund Sophie's education lingered in the air like an unfinished sentence. Accepting meant shattering that barrier between us and them. Would she be betraying every single mother who had fought tooth and nail in this small town? And yet the weight of her daughter's dreams tipped the scales. In that moment, as everyone stared, Maria felt something shift within. She wanted to break the silence that pained her heart, to gather her strength and speak her truth. As the heaviness of gossip clung to her, she was ready to define her own future, standing firm amidst stares and disbelief. Would she muster the courage to face the world, or would she retreat once more into the shadows? Outside, the town square had come alive with tension. Maria grasped the moment, knowing that hearts could change, and maybe, just maybe, love and understanding could forge a bridge across their chasm of differences. Maria inhaled deeply, steadying herself as she turned to face the crowd. For a split second, the weight of their scrutiny felt unbearable, like lead pressing down on her chest. But within her, a flicker of resolve sparked. She felt Sophie's innocent smile, her little dreams dancing in the back of her mind, like tiny fireflies waiting to be set free. Listen, Maria began, her voice surprisingly steady despite the tremors coursing through her. The murmurs quieted, curiosity piqued. This isn't just about me. It's about my daughter. I've spent years teaching her that dreams are worth chasing, no matter how far out they seem. James understands that dream. He believes in her future. Wouldn't you want that for your own kids? A wave of surprise rippled through the attendees. Faces softened, some puzzled, others intrigued. The tension started to lift, if only a little. Looking towards James, she saw something in his eyes that made her heart race. Support, understanding. He nodded slightly, urging her on. As Maria's passion grew, she clasped her hands together, feeling heat build in her cheeks. We all have to fight battles every single day. Mine just happened to lead me here, to a man who wants to help. If I shut this door, I might just close the window that could save my daughter's future. I assent that what we all want. To ensure a better tomorrow? The murmurs picked up again, swirling between doubt and understanding. Some people exchanged looks, others frowned. But she noticed a few parents step forward, nodding slightly in agreement, their shoulders becoming less tense. Yeah, Maria! You've got this! Some of her friends piped up from the back, a light humor restoring a semblance of camaraderie. It was an odd feeling, this blend of fear and exhilaration, like standing on the edge of a cliff, toes curled over the precipice. What if she could be the bridge? What if conversations like this could change opinions? Even if just a few, she could ignite something, create a possibility of acceptance. James stepped closer to her side, radiating a calm that interlaced perfectly with her rising spirit. Maria is right. If we don't support one another, what does that say about us? We can choose to uplift or to hinder. I want to give Sophie opportunities that she deserves. We can create a community that learns from each other instead of judging. There's so much potential here. His voice boomed across the room, leaving barely a trace of doubt behind. As he spoke, Maria felt the warmth surrounding her, the kind of warmth that could only come from hearts unfurling, even if just a tad. But still, shadows lingered. Questions buzzed around her like flies. What about the others? Is this a betrayal? Will they accept her now? She felt a deep pang of loneliness creep up, yet also hope. There was a promise in the air, a breath of transformation waiting to happen. It was awkward but necessary. This was her battle, her moment of truth. Would she be strong enough to carve out a new narrative, not just for herself but for Sophie and all the others who felt stuck? And would their acceptance be forged on shared dreams rather than old grudges? With a heart full of fire, Maria took a step forward, feeling the weight lift just a bit. The murmurs slowly transformed, a swell of what could be. What happened next would either break her or rewrite the possibilities for everyone involved. Before she could even process her feelings, a familiar voice interrupted her thoughts. Maria, wait! There's something I need to tell you. It was Sophie standing at the door, eyes wide with wonder. Maria's heart stopped. What could her daughter possibly want to say right now? Sophie took a hesitant step into the room, her small figure dwarfed by the crowd. Maria felt her heart race, a mix of dread and excitement flooding her veins. She had barely managed to gather her courage to speak, and now her daughter had arrived, unannounced, with her wide, innocent eyes spilling over with unspoken thoughts. What is it, sweetheart? Maria asked, her voice low, trying to keep the focus on her daughter despite the audience's lingering eyes. Sophie looked back at her, searching for the words in the sea of faces. I'd been thinking, she began, her voice soft yet audible in the hush that had fallen over the gathering. You always tell me to follow my dreams. And I think, maybe I should, too. Her gaze darted between Maria and James, the warmth in Sophie's eyes resembling fireflies shimmering in the twilight. A moment of silence followed. It was a weighty pause, an instant when the entire room held its collective breath. Maria's heart swelled with both pride and fear. What do you mean, sweetie? Sophie straightened her back, the resolve spilling over her small frame. I want to follow your example. You're brave, Mom. You fight for what is right, and James believes in us, in me. Her chin lifted slightly, the determination in her voice as steady as a rock. I don't want anyone to tell me what I can or can't be anymore. A murmur passed through the crowd. Maria could almost hear the shift, a crack in the armor of their judgment. Hope surged inside her. Could this really be happening? Could Sophie's confidence start breaking down those walls? Exactly. James jumped in, visibly moved by Sophie's words. You see? This is the future we want, a place for every child to be themselves, to dream big. It's not just about funding or programs. It's about belief, the belief that they deserve to shine. Maria looked at Sophie, her eyes glistening. You're right, baby. You deserve to chase after everything you dream of. No one should ever tell you otherwise. Sophie grinned, as if Maria had unlocked a door she had only dared to imagine. But there was still apprehension flickering in the atmosphere, the skepticism still lingering. "Are you telling me?" a voice called from the back, breaking the moment. It was one of the parents, skepticism woven into their tone. "Are you suggesting you'd have this stranger shape a future for our kids?" Sophie opened her mouth, ready to respond, but Maria caught her eye first, instinctively knowing this needed to come from her. "No, that's not it. This isn't about handing over our children's potential to anyone. It's about working together. We want to bring light to the dark corners, to find every child who feels lost." The crowd seemed to ripple, a blend of uncertainty and connection flickering in the air. Maria felt it a shift. She could taste the tension dissolving, hope navigating through the cracks. "Please, listen to Sophie," Maria continued, her voice growing stronger, rising with the swelling tide of emotion. "Her voice matters. Every child matters. We can either choose to shut our eyes to their potential, or help them see it for themselves." She glanced back at Sophie. "What you just said was powerful. You have every right to dream, sweetheart. And we can't let fear keep us silent." Suddenly, Sophie looked down at the small stuffed bear she clutched tightly in her arms, and in that moment, Maria felt a rush of gratitude wash over her. Whatever lay ahead was uncertain, but they were all ready to take their first steps together, braving new waters, ready to seize the possibility of acceptance. But just as the collective mood began to shift toward realization, the door burst open again, this time with a figure Maria recognized all too well, her ex-husband, David, standing there catching everyone off guard, an ominous expression etched across his face. "What are you all doing?" he asked sharply, eyes narrowing. Maria's heart sank as a wave of panic enveloped her. What was he going to do? Would he support Sophie? Or would he shatter the fragile hope their little family was starting to build? David's presence filled the room like a dark cloud, casting a shadow over Maria's newfound courage. The growing energy among the crowd shifted as fear crept back in. Murmurs floated from person to person, uncertainty splashing like waves against the shoreline. "What are you doing here, David?" Maria's voice wavered, but there was an edge to it, a hint of defiance. She wouldn't let him intimidate her, not now, not when Sophie needed her strength. He stepped further into the room, holding his posture rigid. "I got a call that something was happening here. What is all this nonsense about letting some stranger influence our kids?" His words slices through the air, sharp and jarring. "I'm not a stranger," James interjected, stepping forward. He wasn't about to shrink back. "I'm here for the children. We're trying to create something meaningful." "Meaningful?" David scoffed, a smirk curled at the edges of his lips. "You think throwing a few inspirational speeches and banding together some kids will suddenly reshape their futures? Leave him alone!" Sophie burst out, surprise shifting the tension in the room. Everyone turned to her, eyes wide. "He's not just talking. He really believes we can do better." The sincerity in Sophie's voice pierced through the hostility. For a brief moment, Maria felt the weight of her daughter's bravery enveloping them both, this little soul fighting in a grown-up world. "Sophie, darling," David's tone softened, but it felt calculating, like a predator shifting from pounce to caress. "You shouldn't get caught up in rhetoric. What do you know about the real world?" "I know enough," Sophie argued, voice trembling with focus. "I know that every kid deserves a chance. I know that not everyone believes that. But I do. I want to believe in something better." David's eyes narrowed, gauging his daughter's strength with skepticism and concern. Maria saw it all flash across his face, the way a father knows the capabilities of his child, yet struggles with trust in the world around her. A small crack in his armor, a moment of vulnerability she knew wouldn't last. "Listen, Sophie," he said, voice dropping to a low, almost conspiratorial whisper. "What they're offering isn't safe. What happens when you've had your fun, and the real world hits you hard? You'll regret it." "No!" she shouted, tears beginning to well up, transforming her voice into passionate cracks. "I want to regret fighting for my dreams. I want to find my own path. Maria felt a wave of pride wash over her. Instinctively, she stepped in front of Sophie, shielding her from doubt. David, this isn't about safety. It's about growth. If we don't let them take their chances, how will they ever know what they can achieve? The crowd hummed with a mixture of support and apprehension. The energy in the room was electric. Decisions were dangled in the air, and their faces reflected either hope or reluctance. Maria felt it, the power of their collective vulnerability and courage. Every child deserves to chase their dreams, even if their father can't see past his own fears, she continued, voice steady, fighting back tears. We can't let that fear define their futures. Stop! David snapped, frustration boiling over. The room fell silent, Maria's heart racing. She could see David struggling with the boundaries of fatherhood, torn between the instinct to protect and the need to release. As silence blanketed the gathering, Sophie laid her small hand gently on Maria's arm. The gesture spoke volumes, a promise of togetherness, of unbreakable bond and shared resilience. Please let us help them, James added softly, leaning forward, sincerity radiating from his gaze. But David's face twisted into disappointment. The moment hung heavy, as the tension twisted like a tightrope stretched thin, ready to snap at any moment, and suddenly, Maria heard a noise. It was soft but relentless and urgent, rustling from the corner, followed by a small, familiar voice. Mom! Mom! Maria turned to see Tommy, a classmate of Sophie's, pushing through the crowd with tears in his eyes. The anxiety and chaos around her faded, replaced by a protective motherly instinct as she knelt before him. Tommy, what's wrong? Maria asked, urgency threading through each word. They won't let me play basketball. They said I'm not good enough. He sobbed, shoulders shaking, voice quivering with desperation. The room held its breath. The unmistakable sound of a child's heartbreak echoed, shattering the remaining tension and exposing the core of their meeting. What were they really fighting for? And just as Maria opened her mouth to comfort him, David's eyes glinted with an idea that could shift the course of this entire conversation. What if I could help, just this once? He proposed, the challenge glimmering in his eyes. Maria's stomach dropped. All hope and fear collided in that single moment. What would happen next? The room shifted, anticipation hanging like a fog. David's proposal lingered in the air, unwrapped and undeniably compelling. Maria's heart pounded against her chest, a rhythm of disbelief and wariness. What do you mean by help? She asked, eyeing him warily, every instinct screaming to tread lightly. Since that dark time when David had caused her pain, trusting him had become nearly impossible. He took a step forward, his expression morphing, no longer the angry father, but something oddly just, still cautious. I mean, if you let me, I can organize a basketball clinic at the community center. I'll bring in the coaches, the equipment. I can make Tommy and others feel valued. It's in my power to give them a shot, quite literally. The murmurs faded to silence again, drawn into the gravity of those words. Tommy looked up, his tears lingering but hope flickering in his eyes, bewilderment interweaving with a fragile smile. The other kids shifted, whispering among themselves, sensing the crack of possibility. But why would you do that? Maria pressed, skepticism lacing her tone. This doesn't feel like you, David. He opened his mouth, a fleeting shadow crossing his face. He seemed to wrestle with the truths of his past. Maybe I finally want to show my kids that there's value in believing in something bigger than myself. I don't want another child to feel what I felt. Maria's protective instincts flared. Could this be a trick? A means to win Sophie back, to regain his standing in their lives? She stole a glance at Sophie. Her daughter was watching intently, a mixture of pleading and fear in her large eyes. Could they trust him? Talk is cheap, David, James said, breaking the silence, stepping closer, his voice firm yet calm. Actions speak louder. What guarantee do we have that you won't back out when it gets tough? David's jaw tightened, but that fire ignited something in him. You have my word. And I'll back it with action. I want to show the boys and girls that they are worth something. No child should feel less than. The determination in his tone was undeniable, reverberating throughout the space, pulling at the threads of doubt. The crowd seemed to shift once more, uncertainty mixed with the sweet taste of hope. Maria took a deep breath, weighing her options. Perhaps, just perhaps, this was a chance for David to reclaim some part of himself. Okay, if you're serious, then let us set it up, she said, voice firm yet cautious. But if anything goes wrong, nothing will go wrong, he interrupted, his eyes locked onto hers, an intensity he rarely shown. I promise you that. Sophie's face lit up, a spark igniting joy that chased away the remnants of worry. Really, Mom? Can we? Maria parried the excitement with a gentle smile, longing to believe David could genuinely change. We'll see, Sophie. We'll see. Suddenly, laughter erupted from behind them. Two kids had been whispering and bouncing a basketball. The sound sliced through the heaviness, bringing warmth back into the room, reminding everyone what it was they truly wanted: the freedom to play, the power to dream, and a belief in the possibility of second chances. As the meeting continued, ideas flowed and plans took shape. The kids gathered in a huddle, excitement wrapping around them like a warm blanket. Maria felt her heart swell with pride, watching them dream big and rally together. Just as the energy started to settle, a loud crash echoed from the back of the room. Everyone turned to see a group of teens stumbling in, laughter fading as they recognized the scene. One of them leaned against the wall, arms crossed, scrutinizing the gathering before sneering. What is this? Another pep rally? You really think this will change anything for kids like us? The crowd froze, uncertainty flickering once again, as Maria's heart sank. Would David's promise hold when faced with real skepticism? Would they be able to rise above the doubt? And just as Maria took a shaky breath, trying to steady herself for the wave of negativity about to crash, she realized she couldn't let that challenge go unanswered. Listen up! Maria's voice cracked through the tension, her determination flaring. You think this is just a pep rally? You don't know what these kids face every day. We're not just looking for a quick fix. We want to build something worth believing in. The sneering teen stepped forward, eyes darkening. And you really think some basketball clinic is gonna do that? You can't just throw money and equipment at kids and expect them to change. It's not that easy. David moved closer, the fire in his eyes matching the weight of the teen's challenge. You're right. Change isn't easy. But it starts somewhere. Why not here with us? With this community? The tension grew, the air thick with expectation. The other teenagers exchanged looks, skepticism etched on their faces. Yet, in the crowd, the young faces of Tommy and the others reflected a desperate hunger for hope, a craving that had been stifled for far too long. Maria stepped toward the teen, heart racing. You don't have to believe in this right now, but think about how much better it could be. Think about what would happen if we tried. What's in it for you? The teen shot back, arms crossed tighter. You think after all the crap he pulled, we're just gonna rally behind him? Before Maria could respond, another voice, softer but no less firm, cut through the tension. Maybe we don't need to rally behind him. Maybe we just need to take a chance on ourselves. Every head turned as Sophie stepped forward, her small frame looking fragile yet fierce. We can help each other. We're the ones who need to believe in us, not him. If we work together, we can make things better. Maria's heart swelled as she watched her daughter stand up for what they were trying to create. It was bold. It was brave. It was a glimpse of the person Sophie was becoming. Why do you even care? The teen asked, still doubtful, but the edge in his voice softened, just a bit. Because we're all in this together, Sophie exclaimed, her voice rising with emotion. We're all just kids trying to find our way. If we start here, with this clinic, we can build something that lasts. David stepped back, letting his daughter take center stage. Maria could see the shift in the atmosphere, the way some kids began to nod, their expressions a mix of hope and curiosity. The energy had changed. It was more than skepticism now. It was growing into something powerful. The teen's brow furrowed. And what if it fails? Then we try again, Sophie replied, her voice steady. We don't give up. That's how change works. Yeah. We don't give up! Tommy shouted from the back, rallying support. We can make this work together. Encouraged by the eruption of enthusiasm, Maria looked around the room, noticing the flickers of agreement. It was infectious. Faces previously clouded with doubt now brightened with the glimmer of belief. As the room buzzed with chatter and ideas, David glanced at Maria, that same intensity glimmering in his eyes. Can we do this? Can we really pull it off? The moment felt monumental, teetering on the edge of a new beginning. She took a deep breath and nodded, not just for him, but for everyone who hung on to this flicker of hope. Let us do it, she said, her voice steady and strong, and just like that, a shared mission began to take root. Plans were thrown back and forth while laughter and encouragement flowed, each idea deepening the bond forming in their community. Yet, as the excitement crescendoed, Maria couldn't shake off a lingering unease. Would they really be able to keep this momentum? Was David's pledge truly as solid as he promised? Just as those thoughts danced in her mind, the door creaked open, and another figure stepped in. Maria's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the familiar face, someone from the past who could change everything. The tension in her shoulders tightened again, casting shadows over the bright anticipation in the room. Who was this new arrival, and how would they fit into the fragile hopes they had built? Maria braced herself, the air heavy with unspoken possibilities as the stranger took a step forward. Maria's heart raced as she processed the unexpected arrival. It was Michael, a childhood friend turned rival, someone whose choices had once carved a different path for all of them. Their gazes locked, and in that instant, the room around them faded to silence. Whispers filled the air, but all Maria could hear was the rapid beat of her heart, and the flutter of uncertainty coiled deep in her stomach. Michael, she finally breathed, the name tasting foreign on her tongue. Hey, Maria, he said casually, though his expression betrayed a hint of discomfort. I heard about the clinic you're starting and thought I'd check it out. Seems like quite the gathering you have here. His words dripped with sarcasm, but Maria recognized a glimmer of genuine curiosity behind them. The kids in the room had no idea who he was, a guy whose wealth once made headlines yet whose character had remained as unpolished as the streets they grew up on. What do you want, Michael? Her voice sharpened, fueled by memories of their shared past and the fractures that had grown between them. He held up hands in mock surrender. Just wanted to see if you're really serious about this. A few kids chuckled nervously, the laughter pushed tightly between their lips as they exchanged glances, uncertain about this disruption. There's nothing to see if you're just here to watch us fail, David shot back, his protective instincts igniting defensively. Michael shrugged, nonchalant. Or maybe I'm here to lend some support. You know I was always good with resources. I can help fund this. Furious whispers erupted among the teenagers, mixed with excitement and doubt. Some murmured about accepting help, others scoffed at the thought of relying on someone like Michael, someone whose past was tainted with criticism. Why should we trust you? Sophie challenged, stepping forward with an iron will. Her fierce gaze didn't waver even as she faced the figure whose presence held a history mixed with betrayal. Because, he replied, his tone shifting, I know what it's like to be on both sides. Once you're up, it's all too easy to forget where you came from. I want to make a change too. Maybe we can help each other. Silence fell thick again. Maria watched as hesitation played across the faces of the teens, mixed flashes of hope and fear swirling. This was not how she envisioned their first rally. Michael was like a storm cloud unexpectedly rolling in, darkening what had begun to feel bright. Look, who cares if he makes promises? The sneering teen addressed the room again, shifting his weight as he regarded Michael skeptically. We can't trust someone like him. He's just looking to look good. We should make our own way, another voice chimed in, emboldened by Sophie's fire. Not anyone else's. This is ours. Maria felt herself caught beneath a wave of turmoil, trust, betrayal, hope. Her thoughts raced. Was it worth throwing aside the past for the promise of financial support? Did she want to open the door for someone who might just crash the party? Michael, she began, her voice steady but laced with uncertainty. It's about more than money. It's about building a community, not just a clinic. If you're serious, then show us. Michael nodded slowly, meeting her fierce gaze. I can start with a donation to help. Bring in better coaches, better equipment, but I need to show you I'm more than my past. There was a flicker in her heart, the slightest thawing. Could he really mean it? The room buzzed with the energy of 1,000 unspoken questions. She took a deep breath. Let us see what you bring to the table, and then we'll talk about trust. Before she could settle into that unfamiliar ground of hope, a sudden shout pierced the air. Tommy had gone silent, his eyes wide with something more than surprise. Wait! What if he has a hidden agenda? And just like that, all eyes turned back to Michael, the tension thick enough to slice through. Maria felt the weight of every gaze, the questions hovering in the unspoken silence. What secrets lay beneath Michael's smile, and what chance did they have at turning this moment into something truly transformative? As the murmurs swelled again, Maria sensed that the path ahead, already fraught with challenges, might be about to twist in ways she never imagined. The murmurs surged like waves crashing against rocks, each voice laced with doubt and anxiety. Maria could see the uncertainty etching deeper lines on the faces of the kids she had been trying to inspire. Their youthful hope flickered like a candle in the wind. Michael stood before them, unyielding as if he had weathered many storms before. Yet this was different. The stakes felt higher. The past loomed behind him like a shadow. What hidden agenda could I have? He replied, addressing Tommy's accusation but sounding defensive. You all know who I am. I'm here because I want to change. To help out where I can. But we don't know you anymore, Sophie retorted, her voice firm, echoing the shared sentiments around the room. You threw away everything we built. So why should we believe this time is any different? With each pointed critique, Maria felt her pulse quicken. The conflict was real, and the pressure weighed heavily on her. She could practically sense the wavering trust amongst her friends, threading through the collective doubt. But beneath the chaos, a question simmered in her mind. Was she willing to risk it all for a chance at something greater? She stepped forward, needing to bridge the divide. Look, I know it's hard to see past what he was. But what if he has actually changed? We have a chance here to build something meaningful. And if it means letting someone in, shouldn't we at least listen? Eyes flicked toward her, confusion mixing with irritation. A few kids whispered among themselves, their whispers blending into one another like murmurs in a storm. She could feel the split in the air, the fine line drawn between eagerness and skepticism. We still have questions, David said. You say you want to help. Prove it. Show us what you can really do. His tone softened, showing a flicker of gentleness beneath his bravado. Michael bristled for a moment, but quickly regained composure. All right. I can arrange a meeting with some coaches. Bring in people who know how to build programs for kids like you. But it will take commitment. I can't do this alone. Maria held her breath. There was the possibility of hope wrapped in the potential for change. Yet a challenge remained, one that would demand more than just words. What's the catch? Tommy asked, his gaze narrowing. Are we going to have to bow to you like you're some kind of king? The laughter that followed reflected the tension as Michael's smile wavered, but he held firm. Trust me, I'm not looking for a crown here. I want to lay a foundation. But actions speak louder than words. Are you all willing to give me a chance just like I want to give you one? Clockwork silence collided with hopeful whispers, and Maria felt her heart swell and tighten all at once. It was a reach. Would they dare grasp at the fragility of a second chance, or let the past drown their hope? Let us do this, Maria declared, her voice louder now, emboldened. If we're going to build a community, we need to decide if we're ready to trust. Are we in? One by one, hesitant but determined, hands shot up. Maria's heart leapt at the sight, igniting a fire within her chest. Maybe, just maybe, they could transform a former rival into an unexpected ally. But just as excitement ignited, an unexpected loud crash echoed from the alley outside, silencing the room. Maria's pulse thundered again, dread creeping in. Was this the moment everything crumbled anew? What was that? A voice quivered from the edge of the crowd, and Maria felt her excitement waver, leaving behind a chilling tension. Her heart raced. The unforeseen danger ahead made her question everything. What would they discover about Michael and about themselves if they pressed on? Maria's heart pounded in her chest as she exchanged worried glances with her friends. The murmuring had stopped, replaced by a tense stillness. Questions hung heavy in the air, thick with what-ifs. Shouldn't we check it out? David's eyes darted toward the door, both fear and curiosity battling within him. No way, Sophie said, her voice shaking slightly. What if it's dangerous? Michael stepped forward, his resolve returning. I'll go. You stay here. It's better that way. No! Maria shouted, instinctively grabbing his arm. What if it's something serious? We should stick together. Michael hesitated, a brief flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. The kids were counting on him to prove himself, but this wasn't just any threat. This was a chance to show by action that he was something more. Let us go together. Maria took a deep breath, steeling herself. If we're going to trust each other, we can't run away from what's frightening. Nods of agreement flickered around the room, their uncertainty shifting into a collective resolve. Michael looked at them and then at Maria, his expression softening. All right. Together it is. Once they stepped outside, the dim light of the alley cast long shadows, and the air felt charged. The crash that had startled them sounded muted now, and they stepped cautiously into the cool night, nerves bubbling beneath the surface. As they turned a corner, they came upon a strange sight. A dumpster was overturned, its contents sprawled across the pavement like a jumbled puzzle. But there was more, a figure crouched beside it, rummaging through the debris. Hey! Michael called out, stepping closer. What are you doing? The figure straightened up, revealing a young girl, no more than 13. Her clothes were torn and dirty, and her eyes, wide with fear, darted between them. I was looking for something, she stammered, holding up a broken toy. In that moment, Maria's heart twisted. This girl looked lost, much like they all felt at that moment, teetering on the edge of decision. Even amid their own dilemmas, they had the power to reach out. Are you all right? Maria took a step closer, her voice dripping with kindness. It's not safe out here alone. I'm fine, the girl snapped, instinctively defensive. But Maria saw the tremor in her hands. Michael crouched down too. We're not going to hurt you. We're just trying to help. The girl glanced at Michael, then back at her broken toy, her expression softening slightly. I wanted to fix it, but I don't have the tools, she whispered. The air thickened with unsaid words. Maria exchanged a look with Sophie and David. They all understood what this girl was feeling, the weight of being lost, and the need for something more than just survival. How about we help you? David suggested quietly, brimming with unspoken compassion. We can fix it together. After all, that's what we wanted to do, right? Build something meaningful? The girl hesitated, a flicker of hope crossing her shadowed face. Really? Maria nodded. Absolutely. Let's make it happen. For the first time, the girl's face lit up, a spark igniting in her eyes. But as they started to gather the pieces from around the alley, another crash echoed, louder this time, reverberating through the night. Everyone froze, dread settling back over them like a cold veil. What now? Tommy breathed, fear creeping into their group once more. Maria's heart raced. Could this night be the turning point? Would trusting one another reveal the path to a real future, or would fear once again redefine their fate? As they turned toward the noise, Maria felt the tension coil in her chest. Whatever was waiting in the shadows, it felt like a storm on the horizon. Would they face it together, or would this be their breaking point? Maria felt her heart pound like a drum in her chest as the shadows deepened, each face around her reflecting a mix of hope and fear. They could hear the scuffling sound again, louder this time, accompanied by muffled voices. It was a moment suspended in time, where they stood on the cusp of something great yet vulnerable. Let us go see what it is, Michael urged, his voice sturdy and resolute through the uncertainty. He stepped forward, eyes glimmering with determination. Maria followed without hesitating. We have to stick together, she whispered, glancing back at Sophie, who stood with a cautious yet brave expression. As they rounded the corner, they found themselves facing a small group of kids, older teens laughing boisterously, reverberating with something wild. For a moment, the laughter faded, replaced by a sudden tension in the air. "What are you doing here?" one of the teens sneered, crossing his arms. "This isn't your turf." The way he spat the words sent an icy shiver through Maria. She felt the urge to shrink back, to shield Sophie from whatever came next, but she couldn't turn away now. "We're just trying to help," Maria said, her voice steady, breaking through the thick air. "What's going on here?" "Nothing that concerns you," the leader of the group shot back, his eyes narrowing, clearly sizing them up. But Maria noticed something. Fear flickered in the eyes of the younger kids clustered nearby, their faces pale under the streetlight. A memory sparked within her. She had been that kid once, feeling helpless and lost. "Look," she said, stepping closer, "we're not here to make trouble. We want to build something better for everyone, including you. We're helping kids like Tommy and anyone who feels left out." Michael interjected, stepping forward. "Even if it's a basketball clinic, we're hoping to give kids a chance to feel valued and shine." The teens exchanged incredulous looks. "Really? You think a basketball clinic is going to fix anything?" one replied, snorting with disbelief. "It's a start," Maria insisted, holding her ground. "This community needs to uplift each other, not tear each other down. That's how we start to change things." Amidst their tension-filled standoff, a small voice emerged. "I'd like to play," a younger boy said hesitantly, shifting his feet. The larger teens laughed at him, but Maria sensed a crack forming in their confidence. "Why not get involved?" "You don't have to be like them," Sophie chimed in, her tone steady yet gentle, echoing her mother's unwavering spirit. The atmosphere began to shift, that glimmer of possibility shimmering in front of them. "Come on," Michael urged, turning back to the younger kids. "You deserve a shot too." For a heartbeat, silence held the air, tension radiating from every corner. It was palpable. And then, surprisingly, a ripple of laughter emerged from the older teens as one of them shrugged. "Whatever, you guys are losers." But there was no venom behind it this time, more a resigned acceptance than hostility. The brave young boy smiled, filled with newfound courage. "Yeah. Let us play." His enthusiasm caught on like wildfire. Gradually, the atmosphere began to crack open. "Fine. If you're doing this clinic, I might as well play too," one of the older teens finally conceded, and with it, a shift began to take place. "That's what I'm talking about," Maria exclaimed, feeling hope surge with each acceptance. "Look," Michael said again, catching everyone's attention. "This can be something more than just basketball. It's about everyone having a voice, being heard. You can change the narrative of this town." With that, the fear-lightened air around them shifted dramatically. Maria could see glimpses of understanding lighting behind their eyes. What if this isn't just about basketball? What if we come together, all of us? Sophie continued, a fire igniting in her words. "We can change the future for all kids here." Nods began to spread through the once unwilling teens, small shifts of acceptance swimming through uncertainty. "Maybe we should give you a chance," the leader announced, stepping closer. Now, blinking with curiosity. "Let us see what this is all about." The tension released into a bright laughter, a chuckle sparking hope amidst the uncertainty. Maria felt warmth flooding her, and for the first time that evening, she believed they could turn things around together. Then another loud crash echoed from the same alleyway where the girl had been rummaging earlier. "What now?" Tommy yelled, a hint of panic creeping back. "Stay close," Maria instructed, adrenaline pulsing through her veins. They moved as one, setting off towards the noise, their spirits ignited with newfound hope. The group ventured deeper into the shadows, and as they approached the alley entrance, a collective gasp rippled through the kids. In their path stood the girl from earlier, but this time, she was not alone. Turning back to face them, she smiled broadly, revealing a broken toy now fixed, the small pieces of it pieced together with makeshift care. "I did it," she declared, beaming. Maria felt tears well in her eyes as realization washed over her. In that broken toy, so carefully mended, she could see resilience, a new beginning. It was no longer about fear, it was the threads of community woven just a little tighter, little by little. Could it be that simple? Could this just be the start of something magnificent? See? You can fix things when you work together. Sophie beamed, and echoes of laughter danced into the night as they welcomed the girl to join them. In that moment, under the shimmering stars and whispers of hope, Maria felt a warmth wrap around them like a protective embrace. Whatever storm lay ahead, they would weather it together, building a community woven from belief and compassion. So they stood, united against the world, a family brought together through dreams, discovery, and indomitable spirit. In that glorious moment, Maria glanced at Sophie, then at Michael, and then at the group of kids surrounding them. They were ready to embark on a journey of transformation, digging deep and lifting each other up. With every end comes a new beginning, and Maria fully embraced just how inspiring this new chapter could be. For anyone reading this, don't you want to be part of that change too? You need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire and uplift. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and keep this positive momentum going. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let's keep the conversation alive. And don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, because this is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Together, we can inspire change, one step at a time.